Hello, class. My name is Marcus McGowan, and this is my answer for this week's discussion board post. The question is the Abrahamic covenant in Genesis 15 a different one than in Genesis 17? Why or why not? So my short answer is that it's not necessarily a different covenant as much as it is an expanding or growth of the original covenant into the expanding or building of the relationships between God and Abraham. And so initially in Genesis 15, we see the original covenant, how it starts off. And so Abraham has a desire. He has this desire to have a child. And he also is being presented with this opportunity from God to be blessed by God and to be a father of a nation. And so as we see what takes place in that covenant, we then jump over into Genesis 17, where there's not necessarily a new covenant, but it's a building and a structuring on the original covenant that already exists. And so we see Abraham is still in Genesis 17 without his child, without the child that he's been praying for, what he desires. And God presents to him the play-by-play on everything that he's going to be blessed with. So he walks through the process of all of these things, on what the blessings that will be bestowed upon his descendants, the children of Israel, how God changes his name from Abram to Abraham, and then he also still promises him that child, but he also doesn't release him without a specific set of things that he must do. So particularly, we are introduced to the covenant of circumcision. Well, Abraham then has to have himself and everyone in his family, all of his descendants will be circumcised in order to mark or solidify the covenant that he's made with God. And so in my opinion, you see there being a continuation as opposed to the formation of a brand new covenant. We have still that desire that Abraham has, knowing that only God can provide to him this blessing, this thing that he wants and desires. And then we also have the plan that we see, this salvific plan that God has for all of these things that happen through the children of Israel. And so we see that God has selected Abraham to do this in Genesis 15. And then we are moving forward in Genesis 17, where he's putting all of these things into place in order for that same covenant to be fulfilled. So the covenant is not a brand new covenant from 15 to 17, but it is a continuation of this relationship that is being grown and developed. There's ups and downs, as we see from 15 to 17 and beyond. We see the relationship with God and Abraham has its ups and it has its downs, but essentially they continue to grow. And so one of the things that I think about is how, as we are in a relationship with God, many times we start off with the relationship. We start off with the formation of it. We start at one base thing, and it's probably even driven by something we desire, something we want. Or we say, Lord, I'm going to give you a try. I'm going to give this relationship a try. And then we do that. And through that, we start to grow and grow and grow in our relationship. And there comes a point where God gives us a command, something we need to do. For many of us, that is baptism. Similar to circumcision, it is something that on the outside that we do to signify what God has done on the inside. And from that, we see many relationships and covenants formed as individuals with us, with God. And so that's my explanation of our discussion board post this week. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.